First story. My wife's friend framed me as saying her after she forced herself on me, and my wife took her friend's side after the truth came out. My wife says it's not a big deal, and I just have to move on. Plus wife's response. Hey everyone, Lurker here. I've tried posting this from a different account, but it did not work, so I hope this works. I've 35 and been with my beautiful wife 34F for close to 10 years. We have no kids as of now. My wife's best friend Amy has been friends with my wife for about 15 years, all throughout college, where I originally met her. Me and Amy haven't always been the best of friends, but we've been cordial for the sake of my wife. I've always found her to be obnoxious, loud, and entitled. The kind that inserts herself into any and every conversation, whether that be on a night out with friends or a private conversation. For example, myself and my best friend were talking about fertility issues in his marriage during a dinner with our longtime friends. We were quiet enough so that nobody could hear us over the chatter. Yet she found a way to be nosy and make a comment on how she would kill herself if she couldn't do the one thing a woman was made to do. This pissed off my best friend, Max, and his wife to the point where they excused themselves and left early to go home. Now onto the actual situation at hand. Amy's boyfriend, Khalid, had left her due to her annoying personality. I think it was more of a buildup, but what set him off was when Amy purposely did not feed their dog while he was on a work trip because he was sleeping while she was drunk and calling him to collect her. That's only the tip of the iceberg. Amy has always been weird with me. She has constantly tried to DM me on Instagram, trying to make conversation about gossip in our friend group or completely random things. I have always ignored her. My wife has always seen past her strange behavior. She refused to believe her dearest best friend would have ill intentions. Anyway, after their breakup, Amy came over to our house to see my wife. My wife was feeling ill on this day, so she took pills to help her sleep and fell asleep in a matter of an hour. I could not ask Amy to leave the state she was in, so for my wife, I suggested she could sleep in the guest bedroom. She agreed and went to bed. I was in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner, and she waltzed into the kitchen with nothing but undergarments on. She acted shocked and claimed she didn't know I was still in the kitchen. I felt extremely uncomfortable and decided to call it a night. However, she started stripping and approaching me, telling me how my wife doesn't have to know, and that she's seen the way I've looked at her. I was completely baffled and told her she'd gotten the wrong idea and was ashamed to do this to her own best friend while I tried to scurry out of the kitchen. However, she practically leaped in front of me and touched my privates. Without a second thought, I hit her. I know I could have easily pushed her, but in the moment, I panicked and punched her in the face. Her eye was left bruised. She started wailing, enough that my wife woke up and stumbled in the kitchen to see her best friend, naked and bruised. She then went on about how I tried to saw her, and that I'm a disgusting human being, and she should divorce me. I snapped back that she approached me naked, and a rejection wasn't enough for her to back off, so I punched her, hence the bruise. My wife didn't say anything. Instead, she fainted, and I immediately brought her to the hospital. My wife is now okay, but refuses to talk to me about what happened. On the other hand, Amy has now accused me of attempting to have sex with her in our friend group. The majority of people don't believe her, but there's a few who live by and always believe a saw accusation. The other half told me I effed up by punching her and fueling this anger. Amy has ruined my life. I'm afraid my wife will divorce me, and this goes to court. I've already contemplated self-harm many times. I don't know where to go from here. What do I do? Where do I go from here? Any advice is appreciated. Edit. I know this story sounds absurd, and I wish it were fake, but it is not. The unnecessary details were brought in to paint an overall picture of her character. I guess it is worth mentioning that my wife feels like she owes her life to Amy for getting her out of an abusive household when they were teenagers. They are practically like sisters. Amy was also not drunk. Edit 2. A few things I would like to clarify to avoid confusion. Amy claims to have gone to the kitchen to get a glass of water, not knowing I was still there. She then claims I took advantage of her. This incident happened at approximately 3 a.m. It is now 8 a.m. She came up with this story and posted it in our group chat right after she went back home. The majority of our friend group have to get up early for their responsibilities, hence how this misinformation has spread like wildfire. I have been getting individual DMs on advice and opinions since I've concluded the majority are on my side. Some say I shouldn't have punched her, and the rest believe her. My wife has been up all night and refuses to talk to me. I have not tried to push her to talk to me. For now, she needs time to process it. Comments. OP. I'm contemplating texting her ex, Khalid, who left her, and trying to ask him if she's done anything similar to his knowledge. He may be able to make my story more believable based on a factual pattern of behavior rather than word against word. I'm just not sure if it's a good idea. Miss Skynet. It might be a good idea to talk to a lawyer and find out what sort of evidence you would need to take her to court for defaming you. Perhaps get an action plan together with a lawyer who has experience in this before you go reaching out to people like her ex for help. If it takes an unexpected turn, you will have an action plan and somebody to advise you. You might be able to get her to publicly retract the story if she's faced with something like a lawsuit. Don't go easy, because they're making you feel bad about punching her. She told you, and now she is making very serious false accusations against you. This isn't schoolyard gossip kind of drama. This is somebody committing actual crimes. Jim Throwaway 15576. I can't believe his wife of 10 years, whom he always said was his best friend, would believe this best friend over her husband. OP. I try to understand her really. She has known Amy longer, and Amy has helped her get through pretty deep stuff in their teens. I know my wife has her reasons for reacting the way she did, but it is getting tiring trying to compete with her best friend. Update. 12 hours later. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their support, input, and advice, which I have used profusely in this situation. On the other hand, a lot of people thought this story was fake or some sort of gross fantasy. It was not. I am still suffering in the aftermath of what has happened. I have not slept or eaten since. For the people who proceeded to say, I should have had sex with Amy or DM'd me, calling me a sicko, I truly hope you find peace in your lives. And to the comments calling me an which were interestingly mostly from men, I truly hope you treat the women in your life with the same respect and equality they deserve. Now on to the update. A lot has happened in the past 9 hours. Someone made a suggestion to text Khalid, and so I did. Khalid was just as distraught as me and admitted that this was, in fact, not the first time she has screamed rope, just like some of you had suspected. She has threatened to scream rope to use Khalid to stay in the relationship with her. He got out of it by installing cameras without her knowledge and contacting a lawyer in case she went through with her claims. This worked in my favor. He was very supportive and sympathetic. I confronted Amy with all the fallacies in her story and mentioned the existing evidence Khalid still had if she was interested in taking her claims to court. She panicked and told me, no. She apologized and said she wasn't in her right mind after the breakup. I got her to admit this in the group chat, as I am not interested in false rumors spreading about me in case someone is still unsure of the situation. She shortly left the GC and has cut off contact with everyone. In other words, it has become unreachable. I explained to my wife what had happened. She had seen all the messages with her confession anyway. My wife told me she genuinely didn't know who to believe and was contemplating divorce at that moment. I was heartbroken. I told her I needed time to process everything that had happened in the past 14 hours. I will be sleeping in the guest bedroom tonight. I am happy she believes me now, but it doesn't sit well with me that it took an actual confession out of Amy for my wife to side with me. I have been with my wife for 10 years, and I would expect her to know me better than that. But at the same time, she didn't know Amy was capable of something like this in 15 years. My marriage has definitely taken a hit with this situation. Although I love my wife and have seen her defend Amy every other time, this situation is something I can't get over overnight. I thank you all for helping me navigate this situation. Edit. I am very aware and understanding of my wife's situation. She feels indebted to Amy, and there's definitely power play at hand. However, my wife has laughed off the incident and dismissed the fact that it was so traumatizing for me. She still refuses to see Amy as the villain and is blaming it on the emotional heartbreak of her breakup. Comments. Sweet but Kambasari. I think if you stay with your wife, it should be stipulated that Amy is out of your life forever. If not, I personally don't think your marriage can survive. OP, I agree with you. I could not move past that. I will let you know what happens to myself and my wife. We're currently figuring things out. She is begging me not to talk to a lawyer, but I will not budge. Amy has done enough damage. Forward 23D846. Wait, so she was contemplating divorcing you over Amy's saying so. But she is also trying to convince you not to file charges against Amy, even though she accused you and others of so. Your wife is in love with Amy. She is afraid of losing Amy, but not her partner of 10 years. Please leave. You deserve a better partner. Update. 2 months later. So it's been a bit over 2 months since the incident occurred. Needless to say, it's been a hectic 2 months. In short, my wife's best friend Amy forced herself onto me. I hit her. She accused me of saw. My wife believed Amy until she was backed into a corner and confessed to the truth. My wife didn't give much importance when it came to me and proceeded to laugh it off and call it a big misunderstanding. Now for the actual update. I tried to make it work. I really did. For 2 months, I tried to brush it off and dealt with my wife, still having frequent hangouts with Amy and telling me about them all excitedly, as if her own best friend didn't just try to have sex with me. However, the last straw was a few days ago, when my wife was telling me how she and Amy were planning a trip to Greece for the summer holidays, and how she can't wait to finally have a break from life's stresses. I simply said nothing and walked away from her. She followed me and asked me if everything was okay, and I straight up told her how I couldn't believe she would dismiss the fact that Amy accused me of SAW, when in actual fact she forced herself onto me, and how when it came to Amy, she believed her and was willing to divorce me on the spot. But when it came to me, she brushes it off and continues to have her girly hangouts with the very friend who tried to destroy our marriage. I blatantly told her she didn't care for me. My wife started bursting into tears and had the audacity to ask me, "At that again? Why can't you just get over it?" I don't know why I thought she would have listened now. I had enough at that point and told her we'd be getting a divorce. I walked away and started to pack my suitcase as she tried her hardest to stop me. Pulling my shirt, hitting me, throwing things, and going from calling me names to begging me to stay. I walked out and am now staying at a hotel while she and her family blow up my phone. I don't know what to do. Update. My wife seems to have found this post and put the pieces together. I may have to terminate this account. Update 2. I'm not terminating this account. There's a comment about my wife looking for sugar daddies on her Reddit. This is absolutely bonkers, and I'm heartbroken. I am also planning on going home to make this divorce official. Comments. Chocolate Kinderbar. Nothing. You did the right thing, and if this woman is so okay with false SA accusations, then the best is for you to communicate with her only through lawyers. About her family, text them as a group, explain the situation, and tell them you're open to being supported, but after trying for months, you're done with the marriage and won't accept being pushed in this respect. I'm sad for what happened to you and frankly angry that the friend got what she wanted. Molten glass. I think it's also important to note that it's not just false allegations, but that Amy did lay hands on him, he was assaulted, and his wife basically did nothing to support him. Wife's deleted post. Same day. Reference to AITA for hitting my best friend's wife for touching me inappropriately. Honestly, a lot of you can piss off. Stop harassing me. Yes, I am here, your celebrity. Connor deserved every bit of it for hitting Amy in the first place. She was under the influence. Amy confessed. So what was there to discuss? I thought we were good until he became a crying baby again. God, people are so dramatic. The same account does have several sugar daddy related posts, all now deleted. Lonely. For me. Can you keep your company for this price, please? Sugar dadding forum. 25-year-old looking for a sugar daddy. Meet new people here. 25F. Looking for someone to pay for a reward. Lonely. Talk to me FDM. Chat. I'm willing to keep you company for some money. DM me. Meet new people here. A woman here is willing to keep you company for some money. Lonely. A woman here is willing to chat with strangers and keep them company for some money. DM me. Wife's comments in the last update post. He's not going to leave me, lol. I can't believe I found your Reddit, Connor. You guys are hilarious. Shut up, B. Hi, Connor. Proudly so. If anything, B deserves it. Mini update from OP. Update 3. I'm back home, and I've kicked her out. I just told her that if she didn't leave, I'd call the authorities. I told her to contact me through my lawyer if she wanted to speak. Again, she's tried everything to stop me. She even tried having sex with me. I did ask her about her supposed Reddit account, and she denied everything, but I can't say I believe her. Some of you mentioned it was a setup or some sort of test from the start. This could be a possibility, as my wife never wakes up that easily after taking sleeping pills, and it's likely she brushed it off due to the guilt. Still, it was uncalled for, and her mentioning divorce over a SA accusation she knew was fake just makes it worse. Thank you for all of your kindness and support. Second story. After trying for a baby for 6 years, OP tells boyfriend she's pregnant at his birthday party, and he flips out. My boyfriend just turned 30 on Wednesday and had a big party to celebrate it. I hadn't been feeling well the last couple weeks leading up to it, but I was determined to make his birthday a great one. Due to my job and financial reasons, I haven't been able to take many days off, so I scheduled a doctor's appointment the morning of his birthday so I could celebrate in the evening. I found out I was pregnant during the appointment and was ecstatic. We've been trying for a baby for 6 years, and I thought this would be the perfect present for him. When I got home, there were already a few people there for the party. I asked my boyfriend if we could speak in private, and he ignored me. I asked again, and he told me that if it was so important, I could wait 5 minutes while he talked to his friend. So I just told him. He got extremely mad and started yelling in my face about how I was trying to ruin his day, and that today was supposed to be about him and not me. He told all the people there to leave and messaged everybody else to not come because I ruined the day. He then stormed out of the house and still hasn't come back. I'm still so shocked and confused. He was so excited to try for a baby, but his reaction made no sense. My mom said that while it was a great surprise, I probably should have waited as it was his day. So AITA, OP mentions in the comments that she is 26 and has been with him for 10 years. Update 1 month later. Converted from a screenshot to text. Hi all. This is an update regarding a post that I made a while ago about my boyfriend's birthday party, where I announced to him my pregnancy. As said in the post, my boyfriend acted pretty irrational, and both of us were pretty upset. He came home a week and a half after the incident, and we talked about our relationship and where we see ourselves. As some of you thought, my boyfriend was cheating on me and was trying to find a way to break up with me. He told me that he would pay me any amount of money to get an abortion because he did not want to be part of a child's life, and I declined. I told him that I did not care if he didn't want to be part of my child's life, but that I was not going to get rid of my baby. He gave me 2 weeks to pack all my stuff and get out, which is what I have done. Luckily for me, one of my coworkers was getting transferred and looking for a roommate in a different state, so I was lucky enough to ask for a transfer as well and receive it. I am now living in North Carolina and am adjusting quite well. I'm even looking into enrolling in community college for the fall. Thank you to everybody who opened up my eyes and helped me see what I needed to do to make my life and my children's lives better. Ubitina Fairchild found some more info for us. There are some great updates if you check OP's history. Like, some people in my life have said that I've changed from the sweet, innocent person they knew before this whole stupid thing happened. Most of my comments in my original post are me apologizing for SHT. That's not my fault. I've realized I'm not a doormat, and people can't treat me like SHT anymore, and it's upsetting to a lot of people. And he says he is going to sign away his parental rights when the baby is born, and is a massive idiot, so he doesn't realize that he will still have to pay child support once I get all my paperwork together and file. I am planning to get him to pay, so don't worry. Insight into the relationship. We are not married because he does not feel like marriage is something that people need to do to prove their love. I would really love to get married. I have always dreamed of a really pretty wedding. I don't have an inheritance or things like that, but I think he does. Thank you for posting on my post. Insight into the grooming of this 16-year-old by a 20-year-old. I didn't have many friends in high school, and then I got with him. So I was a stupid teen and felt like I didn't need anybody else. A couple years ago, I got accepted to a really great college on a wonderful scholarship. But it was a few hours away, so he got really mad, and I ended up not going. But I shouldn't have asked him to move like that just for me. Thanks for the comment and the advice. And in another post, she mentions that she's financially dependent on him. So a turducken of grooming and coercive control. 1. Separation from friends and family. 2. Adult grooming an underage child. 3. Financial dependence. 4. Prevention of any opportunities that could lead to independence. 5. Attempt to control via impregnation. They've been trying to have a baby since she was 18. It backfired since it looks like he moved on before telling her that he had done so. Third story. OP walked in on his daughter while she was in her private space. Now wants the same relation with his daughter as before. I'm a 38-year-old single dad, and I'm the primary caregiver for my daughter, who is 15 years old. Her mother has been out of the picture for a long time, and I have been single-handedly taking care of my daughter since she was 3 years old. Last weekend, I caught her in a very inconvenient, very embarrassing moment. I arrived home early without informing her. She was in the living room, right across the TV on my couch, butt naked, watching adultery. I screamed with horror first, and she followed. I ran out of the living room, apologizing. She ran to her room and locked the door. Since that day, I haven't seen my daughter. Now, I'm not a strict dad. For context, we live in a conservative Muslim country, but Islam doesn't play a role in my family's or in many of her acquaintances' lives. I'm as open as I can be regarding sex, puberty, mental health, etc. But of course, no one is immune from the society they live in. The taboos of sex, sexuality, and sexual desires still loom in people's minds, even if you don't believe them. She doesn't talk to me. She deliberately avoids me. I try to communicate through her door. At best, I get, "I'm fine, leave me alone," as an answer. She changed her schedule so we wouldn't bump into each other. If she doesn't answer my calls, I might get 1 or 2 text messages, if I'm lucky. I don't know how to deal with this situation. I don't care what she does in her private time. I just miss my daughter. I want to spend time together again. She can be very stubborn, and I know that if I don't intervene somehow, this hide-and-seek game will last much longer. I'm open to all advice. Thank you for your interest. Relevant comments. Organic routine 1E377. Step 1. Over dinner, or whenever she can't easily avoid the conversation, tell her you feel she is old enough to have a television in her bedroom and a lock for her bedroom door for privacy. Step 2. Say you know she is a teenager and free to ask any questions or not ask questions and figure things out on her own. But you hope she asks because you want to make her life easier. OP replied. The funny thing is that TV is rarely used in the house. I offered to put the TV in her room long ago, but she didn't want it because it was just too big. If we need to watch something, we watch it on our laptops. I might get her a smaller TV though. Vulcan feminist. When I was a teenager, a similar thing happened. My dad came home early, unexpectedly, and found me and my boyfriend naked and having sex in the middle of the living room. It was horrible for both of us, but honestly, what was most horrible for me was that my dad never mentioned it and wouldn't look at me or be in the same room as me for weeks afterwards. He avoided me like she's avoiding you. Obviously, you're at least trying, which is fantastic. I think what I would want in your daughter's position, or at least what I might have wanted from my own father way back when, is an open line of communication and reassurance. A text seems best since she's clearly avoiding you. Maybe something like, "Hey, I know that was awful for you, and I'm sure you're feeling a lot of feelings about it. I want you to know that I'm here if you want to talk. This doesn't change anything between us. I still love and support you just like before, and that's a completely normal thing. You have nothing to be ashamed of or feel bad about. It's really okay." And then just follow her lead. If she doesn't respond back, go ahead and let it go. This too shall pass. I'd also maybe recommend inviting her out to something you can do together that would feel normal, a movie, dinner, whatever kinds of things you two normally do together. Something where you can have a positive social interaction to help show her that the relationship really is unchanged, and you can both move forward from this. OP replied. Thank you for the perspective. I imagine getting caught with someone is much worse than being caught alone. To be honest, I skipped some details that made the situation much more embarrassing, like that she couldn't even have time to turn off the TV, so I had to do it myself. If she doesn't talk to me tonight, I will text her or write a letter, as per your suggestion. She has a tendency to punish herself if things don't work out like she imagined, and I don't want her to feel guilty for such a stupid thing. Update. I was hesitant to make an update, but I thought there might be other parents, especially single parents, who might experience a similar situation. As I expected, the situation never improved. Hide and seek continued. I wrote a letter to my daughter, as suggested in the initial post. I basically wrote that she did nothing wrong, she shouldn't be ashamed of me, and how much I missed her. I was planning to put the letter on her doorway or slide it under it when she wasn't at home. Then I changed my plan. 2 days ago at night, I knocked on her door again and demanded to speak to her. Obviously, she tried to make me go away, but I was determined this time. I forced her to unlock her door and demanded an explanation for why she was still avoiding me. She immediately burst into tears, and I felt awful inside. Never in my life was I this assertive toward my child. I hugged her and said, "It's okay. I'm not angry. You did nothing wrong." At this point, my shirt was wet with her tears and mucus. I told her we can talk about it when she feels better in the morning, or never mention it again for the rest of our lives, if she is willing to go back to our normal father-daughter relationship. Next morning, the subject never came up, but she let me braid her hair, so we are good now. I'm getting her a smaller TV, sending my couch to deep cleaning, and no more unannounced house arrivals. I will probably make fun of her 10 years later, or something as a payment for my suffering. Thank you for your attention and advice. I hope you found my misery useful. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.